everybody. Welcome back to Office Hours, sponsored by No Laying Up. Today, we're going to talk about the best and worst states for golf, why they're the best, why they're the worst. I can't think of anybody better to help me in this assignment than the one and only Tron Carter, the well-traveled member of No Laying Up's crew. Tron, welcome to Office Hours. Welcome back, I should say, to Office Hours.
Thank you. And sponsored by No Laying Up, but also sponsored by Holderness Bourne, our good friends.
Our good friends at Holderness Bourne. That's right. So I'm wearing the Maxwell today. I'm not sure if it's Perry or Press or Cornbread, but it's the Maxwell. It's cobalt and white, just kind of your bread and butter, blue and white stripe. It's a knit, a little bit heavier for the fall. I like that. Fall's right around the corner, hopefully here in Alabama, and I like a little knit golf shirt for the fall. Nice to wear under a sweater or middle of the day. It warms up and you can take off the sweater and just wear this. So this is my Maxwell. I got to say the Maxwell's maybe one of the Holderness Bournes it's in my heavy rotation for sure. It's at least
It's a workhorse.
It's a workhorse.
Yeah, the Maxwell, the Perkins, those are workhorses. I think those are kind of the OGs, right? Before they came out with a lot of the performance prints and all that stuff. So I'm a big Maxwell, McDonald, Perkins, Anderson, kind of Abbott fan.
The H&Bs, they make for nice, like everyday, like, heavy rotation shirts because they got the good collars. They don't wear out. So you can get a whole, year's worth of wear, even when you're in the heavy rotation. So thanks to Holderness Bourne.
I wear running shorts nearly every day with an H&B polo, and then I've got the AC turned down in my office today, and I've got my Wallace sweater on. This is actually the new North Sea color. They've got North Sea, Sky, Aberdeen, all sorts of cool blues, and then some fun greens for this fall as well. So hbgolf.com. Appreciate them, and they'll be in pretty much every golf shop that we're talking about today, at least on the private or resort side of things, and making waves across the country now.
All right, let's dig in. So the assignment was best, worst golf states. First, we got to define how we're going to settle on this because
I was going to say this is very subjective.
Trying to compare Rhode Island to California, that's not really a fair fight. So what we thought was we would try to kind of quantify this with a couple of lay out some ground rules. So we're going to pick. We're going to alternate picks, sort of a draft of states. To keep us from just picking the biggest states first, we're going to assign a cost to each state that's equal to their population. So it's essentially $1, 1 point for every million in their population, and we're rounding up. So minimum of 1 point for the little guys. And we're each going to get 50 TC bucks to spend on our states. If you purchase a state,
some pro shop credit.
Yeah, pro shop credit.
We're using H&B pro shop credit here.
Sure.
And kind of a fraught exercise. We're gonna piss everybody off. We're probably not gonna make anybody happy.
We'll see.
We're doing a draft.
We're gonna do a draft. If you pick one of the states, you get the top three, any three private courses you want in that state, and you get all the public courses. So if you pick a state that's got great public golf, you get all of those courses. But if you pick New York or California, you only get 3 of the privates, and you can declare which of the 3 privates. And that's kind of how
we're going for. So we're acknowledging, hey, we haven't played golf in all these states.
Yep.
We haven't played all of the golf in the states that we have played golf in.
Right.
We're going for quality on the private side and a combination of quantity and quality on the public side. Resort courses, we're kind of treating those on a case-by-case basis. Like Pebble would count as a private because it costs so much to play. Like it's not like an everyday course. Pacific Grove would count as a public down the street. And then as far as so this isn't like an unequivocal, hey, like the best golf in America is in this state. It's kind of, we're trying to be kind of take an all-encompassing, hey, is it approachable? Does it have depth? Does it have breadth? And is there variety, and does it punch above its weight from a population perspective?
That's right.
All right, one question. Are we factoring in climate? This is
Um,
this. I feel like for the purposes of this, we should probably set aside climate and playing season, right?
okay, I'll go along with that.
You
That's
go with
fair.
that?
Yeah. So
Okay.
before we jump into it, so give me let me know how big of an advantage or disadvantage I'm in. How many states have you been to, and how many have you played golf?
I've been to 44 states. I've never been to the Dakotas. I've never been to Louisiana. I've never been to Arkansas, and I've never been to Idaho or Alaska.
Okay.
So I've been to 44 states. I think I've played golf in 34 or 35
Okay.
states.
I think I was trying to do a quick recap last night. I think I've been to 43 states, not including like airport stopovers and stuff. And I've
Yeah.
played in 39 out of the 43. So there's 4 states I haven't played in that I visited: Minnesota, Arkansas, Delaware, South Dakota are the 4 that I've touched
You ever
down in.
played
But
golf in Minnesota?
no, never have.
That surprises me.
I know. I know. Especially
Huh.
because there's some good Seth Rainer courses there, and I just
Yeah.
hasn't happened yet. Soon,
Okay.
someday. All right. Well, TC, we're gonna go with youth before excellence. We're gonna let you have the first stab at it. Um, where are you going?
Yeah.
How you
I
interested in how this goes?
yeah. I feel like it. Man,
Deep
this is
dive into
kind of an interest.
the mind of Tron Carter right here.
Yeah, this is kind of an interesting place to be, just because I feel like, do I go with, kind of pluck a heavyweight off the board, but maybe constrain my budget a little bit, or do I try to pick a kind of a value, foundational piece, and then I can kind of go nuts later on. Um, I am gonna go. I'm gonna go with Nebraska. Two
That's a good
million
one.
people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, one of my favorite public courses in the country, Wild Horse. I think it's spectacular.
Okay.
Um, you've got a variety of other under the radar, really interesting public courses, whether it's a place like Bayside or Awari Dunes or I'm not sure how to treat Dismal River at this point. I think it's kind of semi public, semi private.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just all sorts of fun, like Landman is
Mm-hmm.
out there now. It's
Great one.
public.
Yep.
All sorts of fun, cool, public golf that I think you could keep yourself busy for a really, really long time out there. A ton of variety. And kind of represents the best of American golf course architecture. Um, great people. And then on the
Good
flip
food.
side, you've got yeah, yeah, you've got yeah, great steaks. Omaha's a really underrated city, I think. Um, and then on the flip side, with the private element, you've got Sand Hills would be one of my 3. Um, I have not been yet, but I imagine I really wanna go see Cap Rock.
I was there last
Um,
week. So
What'd you think?
my host made a hole in one on their really kind of their signature hole, the
Mhm.
16th.
Yeah,
He has a beautiful
right
house.
on the cliff there.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
his house overlooks it, and he was just thrilled. It was fantastic, and the pin was like far left. It was
yeah,
unbelievable, right? I mean, a great shot, and it was one of those two where if it hadn't gone in, it would have been 1 inch away. So good for him, and yeah, it's a good setup. It's the canyon is unbelievable. The Snake River
yeah,
Canyon winds through there, and they've got I guess 7 holes that are like bordered right on the canyon. Spectacular place. Yeah, it's good.
yeah. So, yeah, and then I think, you've got a place like Omaha Country Club that's a,
Mhm.
kinda old school
Yeah.
Maxwell. So, yeah, I think that, and then, you got Prairie Club, you got all sorts of other stuff up there. So that's, yeah, 2 and I'm only spending $2 a pro shop credit here,
two
which is
bucks.
huge.
That's a good one. All right. I'm going to go with when Nebraska was up there for me. That was pretty high on my list too. I think I'm going to go with Pennsylvania though. There's not as many people
Yeah.
live in Pennsylvania as I thought. There's 12
It's
12
like
million and
it's
some
the f
change. So I'm going
it's
to
the
spend.
5th most populous state. It's 13 million people.
I know. I thought there'd be 20 million people. I thought it was like almost as
Yeah,
big as New York. It's not. It's half as many as New York almost. So yeah, I'll take Pennsylvania just because it's got a lot of my favorites at the higher end. I mean, you've got obviously you got Marion, you got Oakmont, you got Lancaster. Um, there's a lot of good kind of. Although I won't. I won't they won't be coming along with my purchase. But there's a lot of really the next level down too. I mean, you got Pittsburgh Field
Yeah.
Club and Fox Chapel and tons of great ones in Philadelphia, obviously. So Pennsylvania for me is that's going to be my first round pick, and I'm going to spend 13 on that. I don't know a ton about the public golf around there, but I called a few residents who live there, and they said really once you get outside of like the urban areas, it's pretty good. So
Yeah.
um,
I feel like Jeffersonville and the Philly area, once they get Cobb's Creek done,
yeah,
um, I think Lulu's kind of semi-public, semi-private. You've got even like a place like Bedford Springs. Neil and I went there last year. That's a great course. That's public. You've got Nemacolin, or I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that. You got some fun public stuff kind of scattered throughout, and even places like Country Club of York or Country Club of Scranton, and
yeah,
um, just like Lehigh. Like there's some awesome like under the radar shit in
yeah.
PA. So I
Little
think
fun
that's a
fact
good
for
one
you
to
too on Pennsylvania. They've hosted the most USGA championships of any state. 91. They've hosted 91 championships in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Yeah.
The more you know. All right, are we going snake or are we going
Nope.
just back and forth?
You're back and
Okay.
forth.
Okay. Gosh, next up, I'm kind of torn between two here. They both begin with an M. I'm gonna go with Michigan because I know it's near and dear to your heart. I know this one will sting you
It
a
is.
little bit for me to pick.
You get all those Glen
Uh,
Helen courses.
you got Michigan. You got about 10 million people in Michigan, so you got so much good public golf. It's crazy. We've focused on it. I know Andy Johnson is near and dear to his heart. Um, you got all the stuff. You got places like Belvedere, all the stuff in Grand Rapids, the Mike DeVries stuff. You got Gray Walls up in the UP. You've got, um, you know, Forest Dunes, Arcadia Bluffs, although I don't know if they're fitting it into that, 250, $300 resort kind of, they're probably bumping up against that a little bit.
Yeah.
But just all sort, there's some fun stuff in and around Detroit.
Yeah.
I love
University of Michigan
Rackham.
course. That's a good golf course.
University of Michigan, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and then on the private side, I know you're a big Crystal Downs fan, as am I. You got Crystal Downs, you've got like that would probably be one of my 3.
Okay.
I would probably go I haven't played as much private stuff in and around like I've never played Oakland Hills. Or I think there's some like Bloomfield Hills, there's some really cool stuff around
Yeah.
Detroit, but
Orchard Lake's
I would
good.
probably yeah, I would probably go with and I love Colt stuff, like, I would go with Kingsley
Yeah.
probably as one of
Yeah.
my other ones. I love Kingsley. That's a favorite. Kingsley, Crystal Downs, and we'll go with Oakland Hills just because I
Okay.
think that, it
Yeah.
looks like just a
Very solid.
proper
I would have.
championship course,
I think I would
and
have
the other
done.
2 are a little bit quirky,
Yeah. Yeah.
so,
Country Club of Detroit is another one that probably deserves
yeah,
to have its name turned there. Great kind of
mention.
old school course
Yeah.
in a really nice part of Grosse Pointe, Michigan. So
I
nice.
mean, I feel like I've almost gone for value a little bit to where I'm almost afraid I'm not gonna use all my budget,
Hmm.
which is kinda
All right.
scary. So,
I'm going to go with another kind of mid-size. I'm going to go with North Carolina.
okay.
It's going to cost me 11 Pro Shop credits. North Carolina, I think, kind of maybe of any state, the best mix of private and public out there. Is that possible? California would probably give it a run, but I mean, you've got on the private side, you got places like Old Town, the stuff up in Charlotte. You've obviously got the Pinehurst Resort, although we're counting that as a kind of a private because of the cost of some of those. You've got some really unusual stuff like Tobacco Road, and then you've got some really classical courses that have made big comebacks in recent years. Southern Pines, Mid Pines, looking better than ever. So I'm going to go with North Carolina. I would take for my 3, assuming that we're going to call these we're going to call these top shelf clubs or courses because of their cost. So I'm going to go Pinehurst number 2, Old Town, and Mid Pines, but I still get Tobacco
Okay.
Road and lots of other great stuff. I think just because of the sheer volume of stuff that maybe it helps keep the prices down a little bit
Yeah.
around North Carolina, especially around the Pinehurst area, but at least relative to other resorts. So yeah, I'm going North Carolina with my second pick for 11 Pro Shop credits.
I think you're getting a lot of variety in
Yeah.
with
Well, it's
there
that
as well.
part
You're
of the
getting
world, or it's part of that part of the country too, where you've got the upstate versus the downstate, the stuff
Yeah, I
along
was
the
gonna say, like,
water.
yeah,
There's
Roaring Gap or,
yeah,
Diamond Creek or
yep,
stuff like that up in Cashiers and in the mountains, Grove Park Inn, um, all the way down to Wilmington, Muni.
yeah,
Like, it's such a big state. Like, to drive across North Carolina, you're like, "Holy shit, this is
yeah.
this is wild."
Hmm.
Um,
Lots of
yeah,
sand there too, and that's good. I mean,
yeah,
sand equals usually pretty good golf options, so not a
yeah.
coincidence.
Yeah, gosh, next up, I'm gonna go with Massachusetts. I think there's so many Donald Ross munis and
Yeah.
just cool stuff sprinkled around the state that I really, really enjoy.
Hmm.
And then I love like Eastward Ho, love that place. Um, I think, gosh, Essex and Myopia, like those two, Country Club, just stuff like that is like, man, I know I'm naming a lot of privates, but I think also like you've got a place like Taconic out west that I think
Hmm.
falls under that
Yeah.
kind of threshold that we've set. You've got like George Wright in the
Yeah.
city. You've got
Whitensville.
you got some stuff. You got some stuff in the middle of the state too. Even some
Hmm.
old like kind of Roger Rulewich kind of Dark Ages stuff that's even cool. Even like there's some Brian Silva stuff that I like on the public side too. So
Yeah.
some fun stuff out on the Cape. You got Highland Links and all of that. So
Yeah.
Massachusetts is it's 7 million people. So $7 out of my budget there.
I'm gonna play some small ball in before you snap them all up, and I'm gonna go with this one of the smaller states in the country. I'm gonna pick Rhode Island for two.
Ooh, that punches above its weight. I
It
like that.
punches way above its weight for two credits. You've got Newport. You got one of my set. You got Misquamicut. You got Metacomet on the I think Crump and Fox is in Rhode Island, I believe. On the public side. So, but a
No,
lot of
Crump and Fox is in Massachusetts. That's the Roger Rulewich one I was talking about
is it okay?
out west of Boston.
I
Yeah.
couldn't remember if you crossed the state line or not there. Okay. But anyway, I'm picking Rhode Island because I think it's very top heavy for
Okay.
the value play for $2. You get Newport, you get one of my set, you get Misquamicut. So pretty good there for $2.
Yeah. Yeah, you got God. I'm trying to think.
Great airport too.
Um,
Love the Providence Airport.
oh, TF Green Airport. I love it.
Yeah.
Great spot. Amen. All right, let's see here. So Oregon's still on the board. There's some good stuff there, but I don't know if they've got the depth. I'm gonna go with South Carolina. I want something. Yeah, I've got Nebraska, Michigan, Massachusetts so far. I think South Carolina is starting to really punch above its weight as far as, you've got a place like Aiken Golf Club. Um, you've got Caledonia and True Blue. Um, and then, you've on the private side, you've got Congaree, you've got Tree Farm, Old Barnwell, I'm
Yemen's, Harbortown.
yeah, Yemen's, Country Club of Charleston. I know we gotta narrow it down here, but I
Yep.
think also there's some really under the radar stuff in and around Greenville. And
Yep.
I don't know. Yeah, I just like spending time in South Carolina. I like the people. You get some of that coastal element, and I feel like it's a value at $5 a pro shop credit here.
Six, I think, isn't it?
5.373 million people.
Yeah. So we're rounding up.
We're
Six.
rounding straight up, like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
oh, okay,
Nearest. Yeah. Because
okay,
otherwise, the ones at the bottom will be zero. So
okay.
yeah.
I got
So
you.
six. So you're at 27 now. All right. Oh,
Okay.
so you didn't. You got to declare who are the three. What are the three are you keeping though in South Carolina? Can't have them
I
all,
would say
Tron.
Yemen. Yeah, I would do Yemen's Free Farm and Congaree. Do those three.
Wow. Okay. I was going to pick.
What would you go with?
Well, I was going to go a completely different direction. Really, I was going to go Yemen's, Long Cove, and Harbortown. I think maybe
Oh,
Old
I
Barn.
didn't even. Yeah.
Maybe Old Barn One Star Harbortown. Maybe.
Okay. I didn't even.
But
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking Hilton Head either.
yeah, I like Long Cove. I like yeah.
Yeah.
Give me a little diversity of climates
Yeah.
and regions there too. All right.
look at you diving into the Pete Dye.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Uh,
go back into Middle America for my next one, though. Another pretty good bang for my book, I think. I'm gonna go with Iowa for 4
wow.
credits. Um, again, I think I've only been there twice. I mean, 2 trips to Iowa, but the big three for me are Cedar Rapids, Davenport, and Harvester. I think for a state the size of Iowa and just nice people, it's a nice place to be. Some weather challenges out in Iowa, but I like the drives in Iowa. It's very relaxing. I think the drives there, like from place to place, and there is some driving to get from place to place there. Hands up, I don't know a ton about public golf in Iowa, but
We did Strapped, Iowa.
yeah, and
Randy
that
and
looks
Neil and
yeah
played
look
some great courses, some university courses, and
yeah
just some cool, like Waveland looked awesome as well. Just some
yeah
cool stuff. So
yeah. Even their we're calling them their high end courses. Davenport,
yeah.
Cedar Rapids. I mean, they're very welcoming, very friendly folks. It's very down to earth at all those clubs. There's nothing in Iowa that I would consider like fancy or over the top as far as their
Yeah.
privates, but just good, solid. And for four credits, how can you go wrong? So Iowa's my
I
fourth
like
pick.
that. I
Yeah.
like that. I'm going not far away from there. Next, I'm going to Wisconsin for 6.
Okay.
I think Wisconsin is I was kind of flip-flopping between Wisconsin and even taking that like 2nd or 3rd. So I think between, places like, obviously you got Sand Valley, you got I've actually never played Lawsonia.
Oh,
You've got,
so good.
Lac La Belle, you got, Erin Hills. I love Erin Hills.
Hmm.
Um, I
Blue
wouldn't put
Mound,
Whistling
great.
I'm not a big Whistling Straits guy, but yeah, like Blue Mound, Milwaukee Country Club. I've never played either of them, but both those look just
I,
idyllic and
yeah,
awesome.
I kind of think Whistling Straight stinks.
Wolfie, you and me both, brother.
I I don't get it. It's too hard.
I I'm
Um,
I'm good.
the
Yeah,
par
I
threes
like
are all kind of cliches, right along the water. So if it's windy, it's
yeah,
you lose balls. It's just not. Nah.
yeah.
nah.
No,
Anyway,
I
play
think I've
Lawsonia.
played the river course before. That I would almost prefer that to the straights course. But yeah, it's just not for me. Pace of play, it's just I feel like I'm like I like Pete Dye stuff, but kind of in an extreme site. I don't like Pete Dye stuff because I just feel like it's just beating the hell out of me, right?
Yeah,
And then even I mean, I played during the Ryder Cup in what was that 21. I played Pine Hills down in Sheboygan, which was man, that place has really stuck with me. I really, really enjoyed that course. And then even, there's I think that was it Arrowhead down the street from Sand Valley's. That
I have
looks
not played there.
awesome.
Yeah,
There's all sorts of just and then
Milwaukee. Milwaukee's great.
yeah, you got Brown Deer Park.
Yeah,
Michael Kaiser is doing with that Muni outside of Madison there as well. I don't know. There's just yeah, it feels like nice people. I love the food in Wisconsin. Love the
yeah.
beer. Give me a Moon Man, give me a spotted cow and some Wisconsin golf, and
It raises the question:
I'm
has
good and
DJ
pretty.
Piehowski outsmarted us all?
Oh, dude, every time I go visit him and, go to his house, I'm like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah,
Listen, I know the winters absolutely stink,
yeah.
but there's something to be said for, man, the summer is a full contact activity up there. So, and then we didn't even talk about, Door County and all sorts of stuff up north too.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm up to
Um,
what? I'm just
you're
playing in that.
33, 2/3 the way
Okay.
done. You
You're
got
like in that like
17
Trader
left.
Joe's right now or,
Yeah, I've gone 30. You got to work on a budget. See, this isn't C-suite. I mean, there's not unlimited funding here. We got,
yeah.
this isn't PIF. Um,
Well, basically, all right, so knowing this, so you're at what?
I'm at 30. That's
And
my
I'm at
pick.
what?
You're at 33.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so California, Texas, both off the board.
Yep.
Uh Florida's off the board as well,
Yeah, we can
which
jump ahead. Texas has to be the worst when adjusted for
yeah,
population and
totally.
weather, doesn't it? I mean, it's got
Totally.
to be the clear cut. I mean, there are certainly some things that have that
Yeah.
Texas is, it's good food, it's
There's some
great,
cool
it's weather.
stuff, but
Wolf
for how
Point,
big of a state
uh,
it is, it's
yeah.
yeah.
What happened there? Because they had, I was digging into a little bit of this last night. I mean, Maxwell, obviously, Perry and Press were right next door in Oklahoma and did a decent amount of work around Texas. Tillinghast was in Texas and did
Yeah.
some stuff there, but so it's not like it's a Mississippi where there just weren't, they don't really have any golden age
Yeah.
courses to blame, just like because of timing and trends with larger macroeconomic trends or socioeconomic trends in the United States. Texas just kind of a whiff on golf.
Yeah, I think some of it comes down to, the land in and around Dallas, down to Houston, just not very dynamic. And listen, there's like you said, there's bright spots, there's cool stuff, there's, uh, Northwood and Dallas or Colonial or Shady Oaks. You got Austin Golf Club. Um, they're building stuff up at Childress Hall, but even the private I would say even the public golf, like I like what's that, Rockwood and in Fort Worth. There's Pine Dunes out in the eastern part of the state,
Yep.
Memorial Park down in Houston. You get was that Stanley Park, the one with the square greens in Dallas. Um, but man, there's just really for how big of a state it is, it's you got Lions and all that, but there's just not like I would say, like I would take setting budgets aside, I would take Massachusetts over Dallas or over Texas, and it's less than a quarter of the population, and you could probably fit Massachusetts into the metroplex as far as
Yeah.
geography goes.
California's out of the mix. That's just a size issue. California's obviously got great golf courses. If you don't
Yeah,
adjust
but
for
I didn't.
size, it's
But
probably number
even
one.
I think California struggles on the public side,
Yeah,
right? Where you
it
got
does.
you got some cool stuff. Rustic Canyon, Soul Park, Pacific Grove. I
Pasatiempo.
like Harding Park, Pasatiempo, but even like Pasatiempo, all right, somebody's paying 400, $500 to play that at this point. Once they get done with their redo, you got Northwood's cool. You got Corica Park in the East Bay.
Yeah,
Just redid Golden Gate, but man, it's like, yeah, there's like 38 million, there's 39 million people there, and there's some decent stuff on the Central Coast, but
great weather.
it should it should be a lot better than it is, I think.
Yeah.
Some of that coastal commission and just cost of land out there.
Yep. All right, I've stalled you
And then
enough.
Florida, like, there's some nice high-end stuff and some resorty stuff here or there, but, on the whole, like, everybody thinks Florida's this big, great golf state. Florida blows for
Yeah,
golf. Like, take it from someone who lives here.
climate too. If Florida is a lot like it shares it with my current residents of Alabama, in that the best times of the year to play golf are when the light is the least. I mean,
Shortest
it's
days.
the
Yeah,
shortest days. It just stinks for that. It's like reverse engineered. Um, but Florida also should be better just because of all the sand. And I read once, and it was in a book that was like 30 years old, so it's not applicable today. But the number of actual holes that are on the coastline, like not with a condo in between or
yeah,
400 yards of whatever, the actual number of holes, 17, 18 at Seminole and a few other, but it's shockingly small for how many golf courses there are. I mean, it's less than 100. There's less than
yeah.
100 holes of golf on the coastline in Florida, at least as of a couple decades ago. So, and I don't think that's improved a whole
Crazy.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. All right,
Where you
back to the
where you
draft.
going next?
So I'm gonna throw a little wrench, place that's near and dear to my heart. I used to go up there for work quite a bit, and I fell in love with the place, and I like it. And that's Maine. For
Okay.
two credits for Maine. First of all, who are these 2 million people that live in Maine? Because I don't want to live there, but I like visiting there in the summertime. My friend Albert lives there. So for golf wise, I like a place called Penobscot Valley. It's an old Donald Ross. Cape Arundel's up there. Portland Golf Club is a perfectly reasonable golf course. I just think, again, it's kind of a value play, but in the summer, man, it's nice. It's very similar to northern Michigan, where you get up there it's sweaters at night and or your fine Holderness Bourne hoodie there, Tron. But yeah, I like Maine. It's you're not going to see any other tourists there for golf. It's easy to get on all the courses, and just it's pretty laid back. lifestyle
Yeah.
up there. So for 2 credits, I don't think you can go wrong with Maine. Um, Kind of hard to get there, but other than that, it's yeah, I like Maine for golf.
I would be worried about the depth up there or just
Yeah,
but I guess you can go get lost and stumble on some stuff.
yeah, I think once
Um,
you get above like Bangor, Brewer, it's no man's land for the rest of it. I mean, that's kind of the last civilization I think up there. Little fun fact for you on Maine. So Bangor Muni, right next to the airport in Bangor, Maine, held the only USGA championship ever held it in Maine. 1978, they held the Pub Links. And if you've ever played or Bangor Municipal Golf Course, it's unbelievable that place ever held a USGA championship, but they did. So there's what 7 different states. Every state in the country has held at least one USGA championship. The last state to do it was Alaska. So the USGA finally
yeah,
ticked off. Last on their list was Alaska. In 2022, they hosted the Senior Women's Am at Anchorage Golf Course in Alaska, and that was the last of the states. But there are still 7 states that have only held one USGA championship. Alaska was the last one. Idaho, Maine, New Hampshire, North Dakota, Utah, and Vermont. Vermont kind of surprised me. So they've only held one. It was all the way back in 1914. Vermont held the U.S. Amateur in 1914 at Equinox, and that's the only one that Vermont's ever had, which is a little bit surprising for a New England state, kind of close to the USGA folks up there, but only one. So there's been, 7 different states, one USGA championship each, compared to Pennsylvania's had 91, California's at 89, New York's had 75. So, yeah, Maine, just the one at Bangor, but solid place, solid people. If you ever played Bangor Municipal, you used to be able to go over to Pilot's Grill, which was a great place to get a buttered lobster, but it closed. So, anyway,
okay.
I'm going Maine for $2.
Um, okay. I am I wanna do New York. I think it's out of my budget. I can't afford it at this point. I wanted some heavy hitters like go out to Fishers or, you know,
Yeah,
National, um, or, even some of the stuff in Westchester. And then you got all the great municipals or the kind of the hidden places upstate and all that
yep,
up in the different valleys, but I can't afford it. So I'm
yep.
gonna do the next best thing. I'm gonna go to New Jersey.
Oof.
I need some heavy hitters.
It's 10.
I think
Yep.
New Jersey's $10. So that gets me up to what, 41?
It gets you to 43.
43, okay. I got some cost control issues on my side, but that gets me Splash World, Clementon Park Splash World. That gets me I think what my I really haven't played that much golf in New Jersey. I've played Baltusrol, before, which, curious to see what Gil does on what was it, the lower or the upper that he's done already, and he's gonna work on the other one. I think he's gonna work on the
Upper's
upper. He's
done.
done the
Yep.
lower. Oh, sorry, right, okay, upper's
I mean,
done,
I'm sorry, the lower's done. Lower's already
lower's done, upper he has not done yet, yes. But I would say, like, Plainfield, Ridgeview, Hollywood looks sick.
yep.
That would be up
Somerset,
there, and
great.
Somerset, yeah, that would probably be one of the 3 that I would choose. Quite
Plainfield,
honestly, I have no idea, like, what the public scene is. I know Hidden Creek I know that's private now too, that's Dormy. I have no idea what the public scene is, but I would imagine there's some pretty good, golf courses out towards the shore or some stuff upstate that you could kinda stumble into. So,
upstate is where you want to go, I think, for the public. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Would you were mentioning New York just too big, too expensive for this exercise, but head to head, New York versus California. If you're just taking the best of the best, like top 10 of each, New York or California.
Um,
Those are the 2 heavyweights, right? I mean, they're
and we're just taking setting aside
yeah. So we're
best of
just
the
throwing
best.
everything out the
Okay.
window of just who's got the best, which state's got the best golf courses.
I think, man,
New
it's
York,
just
you got
personal
everything on Long
preference.
Island. You got Winged Foot.
Yeah.
You've got all the stuff upstate, Oak Hill.
Quaker, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Man, I'm still saying California just because I love Bel Air, I love LACC, I love Valley Club, Pasatiempo, Cal
Yep.
Club, SFGC.
Riviera, the Meadow Club,
Yeah, I mean, it's like
Pebble.
and then I
Yep.
love Rustic Canyon. Yeah,
There's a lot of
there's
good
some
stuff out
cool
on Long
stuff.
Island,
I
though.
haven't.
You
I
got the
know, I
Creek,
know.
Piping Rock, St. George's,
Garden City,
Garden
yeah,
City, Shinnecock,
Friars
Friars
Head,
Head,
yeah.
Maidstone. There's a lot of good golf
Man,
courses.
there's something about just being out in California though, of like, man, like sitting on the porch at Valley Club and having a having a margarita. It's really, really good. And just staring out at the Channel Islands or,
Chatting with
you
Oprah.
know, yeah, I just and I like, man, Paso Tiempo is like magical. I freaking love that place. Even like a place like Claremont. I love Claremont. I haven't played Brambles yet. Um, there's some cool like Clear Creek looks fucking awesome.
Okay.
There's like, it's just there's some stuff up in the mountains. Yeah, I'm in on. I mean, and then that's not even considering like I've never been to Palm Springs or played. I really haven't played much desert golf at all, even in Arizona.
Yeah,
Like
me either.
Ladera looks sick, So
Okay. I'm going to kind of follow your lead there. I got 18 to spend, and before it's gone, kind of the last one I can afford in the middle range before we start kind of picking over the bones. I'm going to go with Georgia for 12. Again,
ah,
I wouldn't have done that in the grand scheme of things if we were just considering all the golf courses and all the public courses and everything.
yeah,
But because we're limiting it to the top three, they've got a pretty good top three. I mean, you've got a place called
yeah,
Augusta National, you've got a Hoopie, you've got Peachtree, soon the Fall Line, which the photos look it looks like Royal Melbourne.
yeah.
Um,
I was
so
gonna I
um,
was gonna say Fall Line is gonna quickly be this probably the second best course in the state, or
yeah,
maybe
um,
both of them will be
they're
second
pretty
and
good on the
third.
top end. Make no mistake that the public scene around Atlanta is horrific.
Wolfie, I
Um,
cannot emphasize that enough. How
yeah,
bad, just not even just around Atlanta, like just the state generally speaking,
yeah,
one of the worst public golf scenes in America,
yeah.
and
With
I
a
trust
notable
me,
yeah
yeah,
notable
the
exception there for
field
the Fields. We got to give a
the
shout
fields
out
is
to the
great.
Field. Fields is good.
Yeah, the fields is
Couple
great. I think there's a few places that like I used to play a lot uh, up north of Atlanta that were kind of failed private developments that
yeah,
opened, mid 2000s, like
yep.
a Shasta or Echelon or
I play
the
Echelon. Yeah,
Manor, places
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
That
There's
I'm not sure. Like it's like I think Echelon's like peak Reese Jones. They built it to be like the Georgia Tech Golf Club,
yeah.
and then '07 happened.
There's a couple of good
But yeah,
ones up there around Gainesville too. Same thing. I think
yeah,
they were meant to be private, and now they're either semi-private or daily fee.
Chestatee,
But
yeah,
around Gainesville, there's some
yeah.
decent ones. So.
And then you've got like I think Forest Hills could be really good in Augusta if they put some money into it. Like I think I'm hoping at some point they can kind of figure that place out and fix it up. So anyway, and then actually they're doing the new one. They're redoing the is it the Walter Travis court? It's either a Travis or a Flynn, down in the Golden Isles. There's an old course right outside of Brunswick on Jekyll Island that are redoing right now. It's going to be awesome. I've been up there to play it a couple times and
Okay.
golf on the water. So
TC, the ball's in your court. You've got $7 left, seven credits left to spend. I've got 6 left to spend. This is kind of like when you get the closest to the pin at the outing, and you've already gotten a dozen balls, and now you got a couple dollars left. Do you go with tees? Do you go with some new
yeah,
socks? What are you doing here with your $7?
yeah. Gosh, yeah, I could splash the pot a little bit and go with a place like Minnesota or Colorado. Um, I am gonna go with Hawaii.
Hmm.
There's not a ton of great publics. You got Kahuku's fun. There's actually all right. How are we treating military golf? There's some really good military golf courses in Hawaii.
I think that's public. I mean, you can get on them usually
Okay.
without too much.
Kaneohe Clipper, they call it the poor man's Pebble Beach. Played there before. Place is awesome. Mamala Bay, which is right next to Honolulu International Airport and
Mhm.
the backside of the military base there. That's spectacular. You got 747s taking off, over your head all day, but it's
Wailua,
really, really
right next to the airport in Kauai. I think they've
never
had
been to
three.
Kauai, but yeah.
They've hosted 3 different Publinks championships back when the Publinks was a thing. It's got a couple holes right on the water and good solid course. Play without your
Yeah,
shirt
and
on,
then
without shoes. That's fun.
yeah. Kind of a change up, and then you got Kapalua. I'm trying to think what the other two. I haven't played much of the stuff on the Big Island. Like I haven't played Nanea or Mauna Kea or any of those.
If you play
Uh,
Nanea, you can take a shower outside after you're done. Outdoor showers.
um, you got Waialae, obviously. So yeah, I don't know. I think there's some Princeville looks cool. You got some cool stuff there. So I feel like I could entertain myself. Yeah, that
Cool.
was what, $2?
It was $2. All right,
Okay,
I'm
so that takes me to what?
45. You got 5 left.
5 left. Okay.
The ball is in my court, and I will go with. You already took Wisconsin, man. You're good at this stuff. You know what? I'm gonna go with Oregon. Nobody took Oregon yet. It's
Okay.
4.5 million people live in Oregon, so it's gonna cost me 5. That leaves me with 1 left. I'm gonna go with Oregon. So we're treating abandoned courses as that you can only get 3 of the total.
Okay.
Along with you still got Gearhart, Waverly. I would probably take Waverly, Pack Dunes. I guess Bandon Dunes, traditional. Stay with the originals, and then
Wow,
Gearhart.
you're
So for
sliding trails.
5,
You're sliding
I
Eugene
can only
Country
pick. I
Club,
can't make
Portland
everybody
Golf
happy.
Club. Okay.
Well, I can't. Yeah, it's that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing.
Okay. You got some fun stuff
I
there
got
too. You
one
got some
dollar
fun
left. You got
stuff out
5
near
left.
Bend.
Yeah,
You got some fun, kind of that Sun River area. You got some fun stuff along the coast, Manzanita, and
it's just so hard to get to. That's the only reason it wouldn't be
yeah.
higher on my list. Is just
You got
at
some
least
Dan
from.
Hickson. You got Bandon Crossings you could go hang out at, Sunset Bay. He just built a new one, Bar Run, down in I think near Redmond. So okay.
All right,
Let's
TC.
see here.
You have
All right.
5 credits.
Yeah. I feel like I was playing with the idea of Washington. Obviously, it's out of my price range now.
Washington's one of the state. I've been there, but I've never played golf there.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know, when you take it in totality of like you look at it's actually one of the rare instances where I think the publics might be better than the privates too, which is interesting. But it's obviously out of our budget now. Um, I am gonna go with I'm gonna go very, very low budget here. You said how much do I have? 5?
You have 5.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Montana.
Ooh, you almost stole my last one. You almost upset my
Okay.
strategy. Okay, so you're going
Uh,
Montana. Um,
yeah, which I
at
guess so
Rock
alright, so,
Creek, obviously.
yeah, it's like 1.1 million people, so I'm getting kinda screwed on the budget here
The
with
rules are the
that.
rules.
I thought rounding was like round up or, you round down if it's 1.49 and you round up.
Well, yeah,
Um,
but the problem is if we pick one of the smaller ones that has less than 500,000, then
yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Montana just because I think it's a big ass state. Obviously, you got Rock Creek. There's some, you know, got Chuck Schwab's place at Stock Farm. You got Yellowstone Club. Like, there's some cool Spanish Peaks. There's Iron Horse. There's some, crazy resorty, high end, ultra exclusive stuff. But one of my favorite municipal facilities in the country is out there. Whitefish Golf Club, 36 hole complex in Whitefish, Montana, and I absolutely adored that place. Loved it, and it's a really, really, I think it's one of the best bang for your bucks in the whole country. I've heard Old Works is extremely offensive. The architecture there.
all right. You get
So
a
I'm down to
Billings and watch a
$3.
you get a Billings and watch a baseball game too.
Yeah,
Um,
and then I could bring Cody with me or KVV with me, and they could kind of
yeah, probably a lot of stuff out there you could shoot too.
exactly.
All right, I've only got a buck left, so my options are limited. Alaska, Delaware, the small fry.
No, I mean technically, Wolfie, Delaware is 1.03 million people. So
Uh, Delaware.
yeah, as of
You're right.
2023.
You're right. Yeah, as are estimates, but you're right. But it doesn't matter because I'm going with the smallest state in the union, the great state of Wyoming. for one, that's going to close out my purchases. A lot of good, again, kind of mid-level value there. I think Snake River, um, Shooting Star, Snake River is a Weiskopf. I want to see more Weiskopfs. That's kind of on my list of things to do. Since he passed away and I've been reading about him a little bit, I'm not as deep into his stuff as I should be. Um, Never played golf in Wyoming, so I think that would be kind of interesting too. So yeah, I'm going with Wyoming. Wyoming's smallest population, by the way, only what 500 and how many people live in Wyoming? 584,000 people in the entire state of
Yeah.
Wyoming. So yeah, I'm gonna go visit Wyoming with my last credit.
Yeah.
TC,
I'm
you've
kind of
got
hemmed in
open.
here.
You've got free range
Yeah.
hunting now. You've cleared the field. You got
I
three
kind of wish I had
credits
South
left.
Carolina back, and I could sprinkle this because I would have gone maybe towards Nevada or even in Oklahoma. But now I'm kind of hemmed in, and I think I'm landing on Kansas.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
The home of the Maxwell
just
family.
because exactly. I think I can go play. I love Swope Park. Um,
Yep.
is that even in Kansas or is that Missouri? Kansas Kansas City always confuses me.
Kansas City
Um,
Country Club, Prairie Dunes. I mean,
yeah, you
there's
got
a
Prairie
lot of good.
Dunes. You got Garden City out in the middle of the state.
Yep.
You got like I could go play. I could go play with Ben at Bruff Creek National, the backyard course that he built.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm going with Kansas. I feel like I feel like I've got a stronghold in the middle of the country with Nebraska and Kansas. Um, I wish I could have gotten Oklahoma involved.
Sure.
But population's kind of low key high in Oklahoma. So
All right.
um can't go visit Bunky in Tulsa.
There's a good used bookstore in Tulsa too. Okay. That's it then. I've got Penn, North Carolina. We'll put them up on the screen here, and the folks can
Yeah.
let us know in the comments who they think that got the best into this deal. And again, remember on the private side, you only get three, or on the resort side, you only get three. So you can't have every course in North Carolina or in Massachusetts or wherever. You only get to pick three, and we've defined what those are. But I've got Penn, North Carolina, Rhode Island, Georgia, Wyoming, Oregon, Iowa, Rhode Island. You've got Kansas, Montana, Nebraska, Michigan, Massachusetts, South Carolina, Wisconsin, New Jersey, Hawaii. All right, what didn't we pick and why? We already kind of outlined some of the big ones for kind of pricing reasons. North Carolina, New York. We talked about Texas. Some other big ones that didn't find their way. Value issue or quality issue. Virginia. 9 million people living in Virginia. Um,
I think that's a quality issue
yeah,
for the
not a lot
most
of great
part.
stuff in Virginia. Why? I mean, there's money there.
Yeah. Kinda similar to Georgia,
There's yeah,
you know?
just
There's a couple of nice high-end ones, but yeah, just not, um, where I think one that probably surprised some like, we didn't pick Arizona.
yeah,
A lot of golf in Arizona. There's a
a lot of golf in
whole
Arizona.
gamut. There's a lot of good public golf in Arizona. Um, I think it's about 8,000,000 people, 7.5, 8,000,000 people live there. Um Tennessee, I'm kinda surprised at the population of Tennessee. It's
Yeah,
probably grown
that's Nashville.
demonstrably over the last year and a half, or decade and a half, but that's where it's like, I feel like, Nashville is probably one of the worst golf cities in America, pound for pound, but I feel like Chattanooga might be up there with, like, Aiken, Augusta for, like, best golf cities in America as far as you got Lookout, you got Honors,
Yeah.
Sweetens, Black Creek. I mean, there's some really good stuff there.
Yeah, I mean, just the country club there in Chattanooga is great.
Yeah,
I'm working on a book right now about Lookout Mountain, and the more time I spend there, the more I want to move there.
yeah,
The weather is just great too. This time of year, I'm seeing 7 to 8 degrees every time I drive there. From when I'm at the bottom of the hill until I get to the top of Lookout Mountain, like making my way up that curvy road, it's like 7, 8 degrees difference every day, and that's around here. That's life or death
yeah,
in the summertime. So,
totally.
um, yeah,
Your
Tennessee's
home
good. I
state,
think
Alabama.
Alabama
No,
kind of
no,
stinks
no love for the Robert Trent Jones
for
golf.
golf. No, not at all. Although some are better than others, but they're none of them are great. The other problem with it is it's the laws of unintended consequences that, they were developed in part, I guess, to help drive tourism and create job creation and stuff. But what they've also effectively done is strangled the the future development of golf in Alabama. Why would anybody try to build a privately owned public golf course when you're going to have to fight essentially the city and the state for the state pension fund, and they've got deep pockets, and they can just lower their prices or do specials or whatever. So Robert Trent Jones Trail has not. There's been good and bad about it. Alabama's tough too, as we mentioned before, with the climate, and the times when it's nice to play golf here is also times when either there's a lot of other stuff going on, like college football in the fall, or just the days get so short. But I think really, you could put Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama all in the same pot of just very, very tough agronomy wise as well.
Kentucky as well.
It's red clay.
And honestly,
it's heavy.
I feel like I kind of maybe overweighted Prairie Dunes with Kansas, because there's a lot of it's always there's it's tough agronomically. They're in that transition zone. It can get crazy hot and it can get crazy cold there, and there's just not a lot of depth. But again, my hands were kind of tied on that front. I apologize to a one of the kind of northeastern states there, Connecticut or something like that. There should be more good golf in Connecticut, and there's not. Illinois, I feel like the public scene stinks in Illinois from everything I've seen. It just doesn't, there's private scene's awesome in and around Chicago. But there's just not a whole lot of great public golf there as well. So Colorado we didn't mention. That was kind of you got Ballyneal, I played Colorado Golf Club the other day. That place absolutely knocked my socks off, Wolfie. I absolutely loved it.
Yep.
You got some good publics. You got Common Ground. You got some You got some weird, funky Jim Eng stuff.
Red Sky, Redlands.
Yeah,
good courses.
Yeah. You got Cherry. You got Cherry Hills. I never played Denver Country Club. There's some kind of tucked away stuff in and around Colorado. I think once Rodeo Dunes open up, this would probably be a different conversation.
Yeah.
Even Holyoke, the little muni out by Ballyneal is really, really cool. So, that's probably a pretty surprising one that didn't get picked. But again, that's 6 million population. Minnesota didn't get picked, did it?
Minnesota did not get picked.
Which that surprises me, because the publics or the privates are good, and there's some good publics up north. What a place near and dear, or, I don't know if dear, but near to my heart, Ohio.
Yeah.
I don't think the public scene's great. It's certainly not in the central part of the state. I think the Cleveland Metro Park system, they've got some fantastic publics up in that area, and then there's some decent stuff down by Cincinnati as well. But really not a whole lot. It's a standout state as far as private golf goes.
Yeah.
I think, and then just kind of being hurt by population too, up towards 12 million. Right?
Yeah, it's big place. Yeah, around Cincinnati, I mean, the public courses were great as far as doing their job, which was providing affordable public golf with pretty good access. There was, when I was like a teenager, I remember there was a severe supply demand issue. I remember my dad and his buddies would call on Tuesdays, and they'd have us all dialing on the phone trying to get tee times for the local municipal courses. Greater Cincinnati Golf Association was fantastic as far as the courses around the Cincinnati area. Now, none of the courses were particularly great, but they were affordable, and you could get on them. And they also did Ohio I always thought was really good with PGA of America. They always did a really good job with teaching. There were always, and I've heard the same thing about Cleveland. It was pretty easy if you had a kid who was interested in golf to get him into a group lesson for, something that pretty much anybody could afford at an entry level. Now, for the snobs like us that like to play, courses that are in good shape and have some strategic thought to how their
Yep.
holes were designed. That's where the public golf in Ohio maybe is lacking a little bit. But also, Ohio gets a major demerit for what should be one of their crown jewels of the public golf in Ohio is the Mackenzie course at Ohio State. And like everything Ohio State
Ugh,
touches, it's awful. So
yeah.
shame on you,
Yeah.
Ohio State.
Thank you, Jack.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah,
got
I would say
punished.
I really like Blue Ash down by Cincinnati. It's a
Yeah,
fun little
that
course. Everything that
that's hard. That we always just said that was a hard
yeah,
course. The two hardest courses when I was like 14-year-old Wolfie thought he was going to play on the PGA Tour. The two ones that my dad would take me to that would like bring me back to reality were Blue Ash, and then the one up by Miami University up in Oxford
oh,
with all the
Houston
golf.
Woods?
Houston Woods. Houston Woods is
Yeah,
the hardest golf course in the world when I was 14 years old because I was like 10 yards too short off the tee to get it around the corner of the dog legs, and every hole's
yeah,
a dog leg like pretty severe. And if you can't get it out around the corner, like you're just trying to hit slice three woods approaches into every
yeah.
green or just laying up.
There's
Yeah,
a, yeah, the front on at Houston Woods is really good, actually. There's a few funky holes in the back, but really good land, big trees.
big
Randy
trees.
actually Randy
Yeah,
actually hit a like, that was where we played most there was Houston Woods and Indian Ridge. Randy and I played most of our golf at Houston Woods. I didn't really like Indian Ridge, but, Houston Woods, Randy was playing out there one time, I think by himself, and hit a tree, like, pretty pretty near where he was swinging. Hit a tree, it came back and hit him, broke his orbital bone, and I think he was, like, knocked out cold. Like
holy cow,
next thing he knows, like, he, like, walked into the pro shop and kinda, like, came to and all of
big!
that. So,
Wow,
I feel like we're gonna get a lot of flack from the Ohioans because I feel like Cleveland punches way above its weight as far as public golf is concerned. Manakiki, Sleepy Hollow, some of those
hmm
courses up there. But again, just your population is, it's kind of like a pick or choose between Pennsylvania, Illinois, Ohio. Kind of all seem like they're in that same boat. But Wolfie, I'll say like I'm kind of questioning your Georgia over Ohio decision.
Well,
I think that's
because
going
of
to
the
come back to haunt you.
constraints of just picking the three. If you were going to go to the top 10, Ohio would be way
Yeah,
above Georgia for sure. I mean, Georgia runs out
yeah,
of steam real quick once you get to about the fifth course on the list. It falls off a cliff, but those top three are pretty good. I really like a Hoopy and obviously Augusta National. Um, yeah, Ohio. Something Ohio I always thought with my friends was about Ohio was like, was it because like, at least compared to like a Michigan or a Chicago or New York, the big states like Ohio, it doesn't have like one truly great like a 10. That
yeah.
everybody
Just a
acknowledges. I
bunch
mean,
of eights and nines.
yeah, I mean Camargo is great, but nobody gets to see it. It's among the more private
Yeah,
clubs in the United States to get on it. Certainly to become a member of is impossible. And it does. The only events it's held really are it's always held the U.S. Amateur, which is fantastic that they do that every year for amateurs. But it's never been on television, and
yeah,
so you know, yeah, just not a true like 10, like a Shinnecock or a Chicago Golf or Crystal
yeah.
Downs or Cypress Point that would really kind of put Ohio, make people think of it more. I think there's just lots of really good eights in Ohio, and maybe a few nines like Inverness and Camargo, but maybe because it the biggest state that doesn't have a 10 besides Texas? Maybe so. Which ones are before we go real quick? So which ones are if we do this in 10 years? Which one's going to have the biggest move up? Who's on the rise?
I mean, Colorado wasn't picked. I think Colorado will probably be on the rise. Um, I think Georgia, like I think they're trying to build another public course around Vidalia. If they can get their stuff together with Forest Hills and some other stuff around Atlanta, I feel like that would be good.
We
Some of the
talked about
Atlanta clubs are getting better and better. The
talked
Athletic
about
Club,
fall line, yeah.
redo, Fall Line. Then a country club just did a redo. I really like Setting Down. Um, Rivermont's great. I think Rivermont's probably one of the most underrated courses in Georgia, at least. I think Wisconsin's going to keep getting better and better. Like I think that'll be like a first pick next time we do this
Yeah,
kind of thing. The more they keep building at Sand Hills or at Sand Valley.
yeah. If you live in the Midwest, it's so much easier to access than going out to Bandon.
Yeah, I feel. Maybe we slept on Utah a little bit. Like I know there's not great golf in and around Salt Lake City, but there's some interesting stuff up in Park City. There's some interesting stuff down in St. George that's publicly accessible. Um, and population's going nuts out there as well.
I'm going to go out on a limb for this one and say I think your adopted state of Florida,
Okay.
with one specific area. So the Panhandle of Florida
Yeah.
is
It's
horrific
a
for golf.
wasteland.
It's a wasteland, and when I drive from Alabama, from my home in lovely Vestavia, Alabama, home of the 0-1 Rebels this year. From Vestavia down to the Panhandle, you drive, you get about 15 miles away and you start seeing the piles of white sand, and there's no development. And, until you get about 300 yards away from the water, and then you see $10 million house after house after house. I mean, that whole
Yeah.
30A strip of, Seaside and Seagrove and Watercolor and all
Cretan
that stuff. I mean,
Beach.
there's a
Yeah.
lot of money going into that, and the golf has not caught up. And if you're like me and you only like to sit on the beach for about an hour before you get antsy and you want to do something else, it's grim down there, the golf options. And so we've been hearing rumors. I've heard rumors for 10 years about, so and so's taking out an option for 900 acres of land, and this guy supposedly just bought this abandoned real estate development that's he's going to develop a course on just south of I-10. We've heard those for years and years, but I'm
I
hoping
think
that
it's
in the next
happening finally, right?
yeah, it sounds like it. And so I think when we come back in 10 years, the Panhandle of Florida will be kind of a future hotspot. They've got the ingredients, right? They've
Also,
got wealth, they've got
yeah.
growing population, and they've got nice sand, which helps.
Yeah. I think also there's some bright spots popping up. I think the, World Woods getting an infusion of resources into it. I think you got the park down in Palm Beach. I know they're charging a bunch for it, but that's a bright spot. Some decent things happening here in Jax as well. So yeah, I think
What about the Doak's building one up in Port St. Lucie, right?
yes. I don't really know. Yeah, there's so much shit going on down on that on the East Coast that I don't really know where to start or end with that between Apogee and the Discovery property. And I think what Kenny Bax is building something, and I was talking to Max Grazerman about it when we played last week, and it was just like it's tough to keep track of all the stuff that's going in.
Yeah.
And yeah, the new backyard course at MacArthur sounds like it's one of Corin Crenshaw's best efforts. Gil's doing work over in Naples, and you got
Yep.
Calusa. Fort Myers Country Club is kind of an underrated little gem, little spot. And then, like there could be like so much cool
Palm
stuff
Beach Part 3. Palm Beach Part
in
3 is
that
great.
yeah, yeah, in that Lake Mary kind of Lake Wales, or sorry, Lake Wales, Polk County area. There's
Yeah.
so much like abandoned stuff floating around, like Rainer
I think
popped in
sounds
there
like Lake
too, and
Wales
he
has been
has
abandoned. They're trying to sell it for
yeah. So, I think
stuff.
yeah. So anyway, I think yeah, Florida, I think you're right there. Um I think South Carolina is going to keep improving as well. You got all sorts of stuff, but maybe more on the private side than on the public side. Um and then yeah, otherwise, I think Minnesota is going to keep improving. I think that's,
All
you
right.
got places like Midland Hills get dusted off for, keep improving there. Yeah. So I don't know. It's cool to look at. It'd be cool to revisit this. And I'm wishing I'm just kicking myself that I didn't, that I went with South Carolina, and I think South Carolina and Kansas. If I could have parlayed that into Arizona, it would have been much better off. I think Arizona, when you really dig in and you look at a place like a Papago or there's just so much weird public golf that you can get into around that state, and then there's like some really really high end top shelf places too.
Hey, you do the best you can when you're on the clock. Now you know how the New York Jets fan base feels.
Yeah, yeah,
All right. Well, that's our hour. Thanks everybody for hanging around. As you guys can see, TC and I could talk about this stuff all day.
truly.
But we want to hear what you guys think too. So please Leave us some comments down below. No hurtful things about my personal appearance, please, this time. But we're about the Cincinnati Bearcats football season this year. But yeah, leave some comments below. Tell us who you think got the better of this one, TC or Wolfie.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. It's like these weren't necessarily the best, but it's like who's got a better, whose squad would you take against the other?
Sure.
Right. So, and thanks to Holderness Bourne.
Draft your own using the rules that we said. We're using the 2023 population numbers off a wiki. You get 50 points. Show us what you would do. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for tuning in.